Please excuse my erection. Hello and welcome to another week of stand-up and radio. Hello everybody, behind me is the radio studio, the radio building. Look at the size of that building. Obviously we only need one room for the studio, so you might be wondering what the other rooms are for. Let's go and take a look, shall we? I'm going to go and take you on a tour of the building and you can see what all of the rooms are used for. As you could see from the shot outside, there was actually a lot of floors with a lot of rooms. They're hard at work. As you can see, it's full of people day and night working really hard writing the jokes for our radio show. We're in the corridors here, and as you can see, we're in the corridors. The building is massive. Every room on every floor, people are working day and night. David, people are working day and night writing jokes for the show. Here's some of the joke writers now. They're pondering some new jokes for the show. Joke writers.
You have to keep them topped up on sugar and caffeine. Yeah. And one day, in time, they'll write a joke.
It's the canteen behind me, the canteen where I get all of my coffee, and it actually overlooks Wembley Stadium, the absolute classic site of the SummerSlam 92 event.
It keeps coming up on Facebook and all over the place. I have absolutely nothing against them. For me, I wouldn't have even found myself in a comedy club. I never went to a comedy club before. A friend dragged me before I started the comedy school because he said it was a disgrace.
Just done the radio show and we're heading to the gig tonight. I've heard that my show business can just spiral out of control, drinking drugs and rock and roll, and I was undecided, David, but I've decided to go for it. Having a cup of tea, and no shortage of drugs. Paracetamol.
Yeah, you need to slow down, alright? You're not the person I used to know.
Sounds like a joke, absolutely true, because I do normally do nothing in the whole day. Thank you. Be on the front page of the Sun, look, won't it? Drinking drugs. What we have here, a brand new water feature. The proceeds from the show gone straight towards this water feature.
We're going to Liverpool Street because it's good to think outside the square, isn't it?
As you know, I have this thing where I have to track down all recordings made of me. I haven't tracked down a recording pretty much for the first time. Yeah, you know that I don't like people taking pictures or footage of me. Well, I don't mind, but if I can't track it down, or get copies of it, that's really stressful. I was in Piccadilly Circus and I was jammed in with a massive crowd of people in rush hour going down into the tube, and 3 open-top buses full of Japanese tourists taking 100 pictures each of where my area that I was in. Gutted. Last week at the open mic, one of the reasons I didn't get on is obviously because I waited in the wrong venue next door. But when I did get there, the reason why the spots didn't go to me is because they do this thing where you can pay £5 for them to film you. And if you put your name down for a spot and you make it clear that you'll be willing to pay, they'll put you on. Neil Bircher, our comedy review person, joined us for a very good night at Dirty Dick's. We all did our comedy. We didn't pre-book, we just turned up on the night for an open mic spot. And they knew who he was. They knew who he was because he'd already contacted them to review them, and claimed that he was more than a bit part player to the Standup Sitdown show, but assured us that when we arrived that the officials there would know David and I as being presenters, nay producers and creators of the Standup Sitdown show, a fact that they were actually not aware of. So Neil claiming for more than his involvement there. But no problems, because we did get on in the end and we all had a good time. Also, he did buy me a lot of drinks, and he also bought me a KFC, something that I thanked him for in email, and something that he replied to me via email, letting me know that actually it's no problem as long as he can claim to have had some part in my rise to stardom, and perhaps he'll one day get a mention in my autobiography. In fact, In fact, just if any of you are interested, I've actually made a chart for what I will give in return for help at this point. When David, Neil and Patrick and I were out in the night, there were people taking pictures, and there were people taking pictures of the comedians and stuff, and it's probably the first time that Neil saw the true extent of my madness. I was diving out of the way, diving under tables to not be in people's photos, because as you probably know, I don't want to be in any recordings that I can't get hold of and I have to try and track them down, etc.
Just remember, the more you film, the more you spend to edit later. I know, actually, but it takes a long time to download these things.
And it led to a conversation about where David actually asked me, what am I going to do if paparazzi... He actually said when paparazzi starts taking pictures of me, which I thought was a nice gesture.
What are you going to do? So I'm in here talking about being famous again. Stop this in a minute.
A lot of people, of course, have good luck rituals. What do you find yourself doing on the tube regularly before gigs?
I had a big wank before going on stage.
I'm talking about earlier on the tube.
Oh, sorry, what did I do on the tube for good luck?
Yeah.
Oh, I need a baby in the face.
Yeah.
Just to make that a bit clearer, I need with a K, K-N-E-E, I need a baby in the face. And unfortunately, the bad thing was, I didn't feel apologetic afterwards. My mind, because what happened was, it was all very, very, very busy, and it was a packed tube, and this little baby was in a pram. It was like open face pram, so we were all getting off, and it wasn't my fault because it was at knee level, but then when my knee connected with his face, the worst thing is I didn't feel apologetic. All my brain just did was go in the face.
And also, from your wrestling background, did you slap your knee for extra effect?
I slapped my knee when I did it. And what pissed me off the most was that the little bastard didn't sell. He just sat there kind of with a glazed look on his face. No showmanship. The kid's not going to go anywhere.
Your first act is Mr. Ed Surname!
Hello everybody, my name is Ed Surname and this is my 4th gig tonight. Welcome to my 4th gig! Thank you. Yeah, 4 gigs at 5 minutes each. That means after tonight I'll have done 20 minutes of stand-up comedy in total. Okay, 20 minutes of entertaining people under my belt. Of course, the bad thing of having 20 minutes of entertaining people to my name is that I'll be overqualified to ever be considered eligible for Celebrity Big Brother. Of course, it's not my 4th gig. You can rest assured you're in confident hands. I'm more experienced than 4 gigs. I just had to say that for the joke to work, so you can relax. Okay? And welcome to my 5th gig. What's over 5 foot long and hangs out of Dad's boxer shorts? Your mum hanging the washing out. Think about it. That's the last one-liner I'm going to tell you tonight, okay? Because I'm going to tell you a story that really happened to me that needs no jokes, a story that needs no embellishment, that needs no exaggeration. Just please keep in mind, every step of the way, this really happened to me. Good night.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ed Surname, big round of applause on first 5-minute opener of the night. Ed, I don't quite know what it is, but I think one way or another you've got this gig covered. On that camera and that camera, you filming for him? You're filming for him. Are you just really worried that you're never going to find out which is the good side? Big round of applause for Ed. Thank you very much, sir. Really appreciate it. Okay, a couple of things to call to.
That's right, I grew up in a place where using bitch is a derogatory term, fine. Using the word sex, not fine. Now, I will be referring to my BlackBerry throughout, so that my political...
I'm in the Travellers Tavern pub at the moment in Victoria. I actually owe them quite a lot because you're only allowed to have a piss in the Travellers Tavern if you buy a drink. And I don't think I've ever bought a drink in here. I'll just come in and have a piss. Because the one in the station costs 30p to go to the toilet. Obviously it's not that much money, but just on principle I'd rather go in the street. Although that costs £80 if you get caught. The gig was good, just normal. It was a bit hellish though because my 10-minute set, as you know, is linked very, very delicately together. If I take out one of the links, this callback won't work.
Sure.
Etc. So I need to do the whole 10 minutes really, which is possibly a flaw, but anyway. They suddenly said, oh, you've only got 5 strict minutes. So my only option was just to condense it into 5 minutes and do it literally twice the speed. They said it was alright, everyone. But that's my... There's no excuses though, but...
That's really funny.
It's quite funny because when this fan footage was sent to me, it had been shot on an iPhone, so it was... I looked horizontal, and Tina thought that it looked like I was standing on a wall. And she was really pleased with this observation, so pleased that she lost control of her dignity and said, "Hey Edward, do you often stand on walls?" But the MC announced the stand-up as being his first stand-up gig. So the first thing that this person said in his stand-up career was...
I take the megabus quite a lot. Ed's surname, do you take the megabus as well?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yes!
Yay! And I went...
Yeah?
really shocked.
Yeah?
How does he know to take the megabus?
What was it? Did you ask him?
No.
Why not? That seems like...
I was more concerned about getting shitloads of... I did ask him for a copy of the footage, but...
That's absolutely...
No, I was more concerned on, like, with diving out of people's pictures. There was one thing where the MC said, "Let's get a photo of the room," and I dove under a table and Neil burst out laughing. Well, I ran out of money, didn't I? Because we got all that stuff yesterday.
What did you have then?
I ran out of money because my thought process was this. Last night I was going to get some lean, healthy white chicken for £2 because it was on offer. When I got there it wasn't on offer, it was back up to £3.50, and then I thought, well, I may as well get their other offer of 2 for £6. But then I thought, well, at McDonald's is £7, and I thought, well, if I'm spending £7, I may as well get a fried chicken bucket for £10 because it's on offer. It wasn't on offer, it was £15. I thought, oh, well, that'll do. Meaning I didn't have any money for today. So Neil kindly bought me a KFC.
Did you really? That was nice.
And Patrick bought me Cokes as well.
Oh, that's nice.
I'm currently in possession of thousands of pounds worth of property, a joke ruined by Tina's opening shot, and giving away the fact that we are playing Monopoly. And I'm here to tell you, I'm here to say there is a comedy collective on Facebook, okay? Everything's on Facebook nowadays. The kids on the Facebook, Fastbook, Spacebook. And there's two comedians arguing, and one of them accuses the other one of plagiarism. Plagiarism? Of stealing famous comedians' jokes, whatever. I've invited one of them just onto the radio show, nothing to do with any of that, yet the other one got in contact with me and said that implied he's not going to come on the radio show because he knows I'm friends with the other one. I'm not friends with the other one. He just saw me talking to the other one at a gig, and he assumes I'm friends with him, and he's the person he's argued with, and so he's kind of, you know, I've been put at odds with him almost. Not really, but it's not, you know, flowing well. And I had to say to him, the only reason I was talking to this other one is because he had footage of me, and because I collect every footage bit in my life, that's why I was speaking with him. And that sounds made up, but it's absolutely true. And it just goes to show, A, that politics can happen when you're really careful. I never thought that just speaking to someone would lead to, you know, that's me being dragged into someone else's problems. And B, it's weird because it's like I've said things about people, and this person who started it probably really thinks that he probably really believes in what we've said, as I believe in what I've said. But as I find myself then awkward turning up to gigs, all because I've said so and so about them, I wonder if he thinks, was it really worth it? So I'm going to invite them, first of all I'm going to invite them both on the show to air it publicly, but I don't want there to be an argument for the sake of it. I know they say controversy sells, etc., but I think it'd be better if they made up on the air. If they don't go for that, because I don't know if they're ever going to come on separately anyway, I'm going to go, I'm going to say, the question is not what you said, not what you think, not tit for tat and slagging everyone off, but was it worth what you said? And then the talking point can be, you know, is it worth speaking your mind, or is it worth biting your tongue so that it's an easier ride? Because I bet he turns up to gigs and it's harder for him because he said things about people. Anyway, back to Monopoly. Disney. The castles all belong to Tina. Tina's won the game of Monopoly. Neil assured me that even though he'd been speaking with this club, with this Dirty Dicks club, about reviewing them, he'd assured me that he'd represented himself fairly from the show, and he represented himself as the reviewer, as a bit part player, and that he made it quite clear to them that David and I were the hosts. And when we turned up, he was all talking to them about the radio, and they didn't know we were anything to do with it. Outrageous.
Oh my god!
Not strictly true, just a joke really, but
Not
but
true
based
at all.
on truth. Based on something that happened.
Shred of truth.
A shred of truth. Banter. Okay, with the team.